2011 Ford Edge. We have some specs behind me on the board. We're going to take a look at those. We're going to replace the spark plugs. Got about 120,000, a little bit less than 120,000 miles on it. We replace them sometimes just because of the amount of time they're in the vehicle, but they definitely have got enough miles on them. We'll see what they're going to look like when they come out. A little bit of a procedure. We have to remove the upper intake manifold, and we'll take a peek at what we have here. So starting up here, we show our spark plug coil on plug that we're going to have to remove. To get to that, we're actually going to have to pull off the upper intake on the vehicle. So looks a little bit involved. This is the spark plugs coming out. We have our coil on plug set up here. We have some boots that we also ordered for that so that we can replace them. We have our gap is here, and then some procedures for removing that. Looking down, and then we're going to also install that stuff back in there. I also did pick up a PCV valve. Hopefully we have the right one. It doesn't look like this. I don't know what this picture is all about here, but we'll find out when we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And I got an air filter for it. So we're going to do a PCV valve, and we're also going to get the air cleaner changed. So I'm going to spin the camera down. We'll start taking this stuff apart and explain it as we go. On the back wall behind me, you can see we have all of our specs posted, so that we'll be able to. We're going to start by disconnecting the negative battery cable. We're going to isolate that, push it off to the side. We're going to let the computers power down, and then we'll disconnect those. That's part of our procedures on this guy. Sure, it's a sign of things to come. This cover has been a challenge. Cover there, popper. Come on, can do it. Cover. Alright. Asking us to remove these. I would love to not. Move this off. Cap back on. move this coolant hose. Goes down to the throttle body. See if I can pull it out of the way. This looks like the least harmful side. Trying to pull this out with a panel popper. I could untape it, but I might be able to raise it out of there. It's coming slowly. Okay, looks like we were able, a little bit of prying, but we were able to get them out without snapping them off. They look a little beat up, but I think they are going to go back in and hold okay. So that is out of the way. Okay. Our throttle body is there. Finally, with a screwdriver and another flashlight, I'm able to get that clip free, hopefully. This out of here without breaking it. And there it is, and it goes downside on there. It doesn't come up the easy way. You get this apart to get that out of there. We should be able to snap it over when we go to put that back together. Put this back into position. Okay. It's from our evaporative emissions. Okay, we've unplugged that, and it looks like that is all mounted to the intake. You should be able to unplug the throttle body, try to sneak this out of here without this one wiring harness. Wow. Wow, 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 really? Boy, they don't make it easy. In the same little battle I'm having with this one. There we go. That one snapped off. Beauty. Not liking where those two bolts are. Let's see if we unplug our throttle body. Like my students, I would be snapping every one of these, but so far seems to be okay. Anything else on here? Come around, got another one there. That one looks like it goes to the vacuum booster. Right. That's where I start unbolting this upper intake and see what we get. Hopefully, we can sneak it out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Should be enough to get back. That looks free. The only issue is here where it's tight is going to be a little bit of an issue getting it out, but we'll give it a shot. Scary. I feel like they're staying in there, which is good. All right, this one is not. sure that's all I got. Hopefully 7. Oh, it is stuck. Let's see if I can find a little pry bar. All right, I'm gonna see what I got here. Scary. We're still hooked on somewhere. Yes, indeed, we are. We got something back there. That is an extremely hard hose to get off the back side of this intake. I'm going to try a different pair of pliers and see what I can get to. We'll be back. Feels like a bracket on the back side. A little struggling here to see. Does look like it just fell. Man. Didn't see that coming either. Hopefully I can sneak in there and get that out. Okay, let's see if I can get my hand on it. Close. Don't really want to drop it. Alright, I'm back. Hopefully. Yeah, you really? That'll be tough to find. Oh, getting luck. Now we can sneak it out. Harness. Oh boy, I see why you like this stuff out of the way now. Do not want to do this. Still don't want to do that. Really do gotta take them harnesses off, huh? Boy, I don't like that. Yeah, that gave me a choice. Don't like. here's the troubling hose from the back. And where was our bracket on the bottom? This gave us a lot of trouble. A lot of oil up in here. A little dirty. We run some intake cleaner through it. Do have a new gasket for it. We're going to clean all this up before it goes back together, but all of this all is done to expose. This side is exposed. You cannot get to the rear coils on this to do spark plugs. So we'll start back there, pull them off one at a time. I'll try to see if I can get you a better position to look in there. See what I'm looking at. Alright, so our coils are back here. We have some coils up front here. We have plugs everywhere here, but so we're going to go in here, we're going to try to unclip this. Pull that one back. See if I can depress this a little bit. And slide that off. Take the bolt out. See if we can twist that. Get it free. If we can. This thing looks pretty good. I did order. Actually, that didn't look so good, so that's probably something that happened during its installation, even at the factory. The boot didn't go on well. It's kind of interesting. Looking at that, huh? Folded right over. Alright, I did buy new ones, so we'll see if we can get those on there. We'll see what all this looks like. Let's get the plug out. Kinds of scary noises. Fords are noted for not this type of engine, but some of our older plow trucks in this area. They snap off, and it's quite a job getting them out. Under 120,000. I think it's 117 right now, but it does have to be done. And all in all, they're burning pretty nicely. The gap's at 50 thousandths. Take a peek and see what we got. I mean, it's a little large. It's burned off a little bit, but really not that bad. Looking at that, but we're going to replace it. I did pick up some NGKs. The gap is definitely small. It's not 50 thousandths. That's the recommendation. It's 50. So we're going to see if we can open that up a little bit. Let's try to bend from the back of here. Open that up a little bit. Oh, we're looking really good right there. A little big. Whoops, that's 80. Just about there, just a hair. I'm going to take that. It's just about going through. Easy. There we go. All right. It's 50 thousandths. We're going to drop that back in. See what I got in my kit for my boots, and we'll put this back together. Always start these by hand. They're calling for 133 inch-pounds, so we set that up. I don't know if you can see that, but they're set up on a torque wrench. That's 133. All right, so we have our spark plug in and we've torqued it. I'm going to pop these ends off. We're going to take a look at this and see what we have here. And I should really be careful over that intake, but there we go. Well, I ripped it, so definitely got to replace it. All right, we have a spring in there, which we have on our new one. Being that that ripped, it is kind of an indication because it ripped fairly easily to come off of there, so it's probably a good thing that we are going to replace these. They're probably starting to get dry just from heat and use. So I'll pull that off. There we go. And we'll get that side off. And now that that's removed, we will press a new one on. Fits fairly nicely. And put a small dab of dielectric grease in there. Just helps it slide on better. It's also important that we don't use too much of this. A little bit of this is good. It goes a long way. It just keeps it from, over time, sticking to the plug-in. Helps keep out moisture, but there's really no moisture down in here. And you want to use a grease that is safe. The dielectric grease is safe for rubber parts so that it doesn't deteriorate them. Any kind of regular grease could actually deteriorate the rubber or make it swell. So we can get this piece off. We'll put a new one of those on also. A little lube on that might help that. Put that on so it presses over the top. Looks very good. We got our new plug in. We should be able to put this on. Replace our bolt, and I believe that's 62 foot-pounds. I misstated. Stand corrected, 62 inch-pounds. 62. Check and make sure that that's centered nicely. Hold down and go for a torque on that. There we go. 62. Feels good. We'll place our connector back on. Nice click there. Press the lock back in place. Repeat that on these two. Then we're going to come out front. See you in a little bit. So something I should discuss with you that I've been doing here and I've been kind of working along, and it's a little bit of a mistake, and really for everybody doing this, you should give this some really good thought. We should be covering this intake. If I ever dropped one of these, I have 2 of these done. I was going on to my 3rd one, and I had that sick feeling. What would happen if I dropped something into there? We drop something into that intake, it gets snarled away to the side somewhere. We're going to have some serious troubles, especially one of them small bolts, because it actually could fit under that intake valve if it can get to it. I haven't had the top end of one of these apart, and I really don't want to. So I'm going to stuff a rag in here just for safety to make sure that I don't have an issue with that, because it would be so simple to take one of these nice little bolts as I was going over with it. I got thinking to myself, if I drop that, I'm going to be a very sorry individual. So just some thought. Okay, trying to give you a little different view here. So we'll get this guy in the picture. That is our PCV valve. That is kind of like got a little lock on it. There's a tab in there and a little lock on it. And it's jammed inside there, and there's the tab for this side. I'm going to try to lift up on that and twist it. I'd like to replace it. We'll see if I can get it out of there. There we go. It did come out easier than I thought. Lift that out. It's got some oil. So PCV, positive crankcase ventilation. What this is going to do is it allows us to get the bad gases and everything that's in the whole crankcase of the engine. So as the engine's operating, it's normal for us to get some blow-by on the rings. This is like bad. It's corrosive to the oil and to all the parts that are in there, so we try to pull some fresh air through. We come in one side of the engine on this one front valve cover, get fresh air going in, filtered fresh air, then it comes back through the other side. We pull it out of this, we drop it into the intake. That's why our intake gets so dirty, is because we're pulling all of that moisture or anything that's coming through, and that crankcase is coming through. All of that gets dragged down in the intake. That's why we see some oil inside the intake. Over 100,000 miles on it. We definitely are going to have some blow-by. Not really bad, but we're going to have that. Not as bad on this engine, because this engine has our regular fuel injectors that are up here on these fuel rails. But if we had a direct injection engine, we would definitely have a little bit more of an issue. The gasoline helps kind of wash the back of that intake valve off as it's running. Direct injection does not, so the valves can get a little bit carboned up and have to get some top end cleaning done to those engines. So with this type of system, or any other one, you could add in a catch can for your PCV valve. You would actually eliminate any of those bad gases and moisture from coming up into the intake manifold and gumming up the back of the valves. This really isn't that bad when we looked in there. It's not really crystal clear or clean, but it isn't that bad. So we'll see if we can put our new PCV valve in there. Hopefully it will spin in okay. And it did, snapped in nicely. Not bad at all. Okay. All right, so the back 3 are done. We got them in back there. We're gonna go after these 3 up front. I'll give you a little bit of a picture of that. They seem to go pretty good. We'll see how these go. We got our PCV valve in. Using all three of those, we're just going to save a little bit of time here. Get these unclipped, pop the clip up, depress this a little bit, and these areas you really don't want to break any of this stuff. There we go, a little snap to it. Kind of press down a little this way, leave the pressure, and pull the lock up. Normally, the harness in our way, I think, is fighting us. There we go. Get that out of the way, pull one out quickly, and we'll see what it looks like. And same as on the other side, they seem to be, they look good, but as they come off, they're a little dry. A couple of them are brittle and they cracked right away. See how these come off. These coil unplug. So with these, there's no more secondary ignition wires. It's all in this. Oh, they're a little dry as they're coming off, so it's a good thing we're replacing them. Small spring inside. It's got to make contact. That's good. Take this one off. Again, small amount of dielectric grease. Nothing crazy here. A little bit here to help that boot slide back on. Slide that back over. All right, this one will be ready to go back on. We're going to need a plug. All right, so old plug, we're going to be putting a new plug in. I mean, they really look pretty good, but going with some new plugs. Put our gap at 50 thousandths. Always start these by hand. If they don't feel right going in, you got to stop. And we're at 133 foot-pounds when we go with our torque. I said it again, foot-pounds, when it should be inch-pounds. Correct myself again, 133 inch-pounds on the torque. Okay, 133 inch-pounds. All right, I'll plug this hole on top a little bit. And there's an awful lot of dirt right around this thing, so get that off, not inside that tube. Place our coil on. Place our bolt, and these were at 62 inch-pounds. That's it. And we're going to plug it back in. Put the lock back in. We're going to do the other two. Alright, just laid this in here for you. Obviously it's upside down, it's got to be flipped over. But just to take a peek of what we're going to do, we're going to see if we can get this old gasket out. How hard it's going to be. And then we're going to attempt to replace it with another one. Sure, it looks a little bit like what we want to do, and it does look like the one. It's got to come out. We'll spend a little bit of time wiping this down a little bit and cleaning it up, and then we're going to see if I can press the new one in. Alright, see if we can press this one back in. And we'll end up flipping this over. And we're going to careful when we flip it over. Hopefully this guy will stay in nicely. We'll try to take a peek underneath after to make sure it is. Alright, let's take this off. And we're also going to want to clean that up. Alright, now we're going to see if we can flip that on, hopefully without too much trouble. gasket's still in there. Drop that on. Still in place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start these bolts down. In a pretty good place shape. The tough one's going to be that PCV valve on the back side of this thing. Is a tough clamp to get on. And then I've also got a bolt on the other side. So I'm going to get these all started finger tight. Make sure everything's okay. We're going to come back. I'll see if I can get that PCV valve hose on. And we also got to see if I can get the fastener in on the front side. All right. Going in after the PCV valve. Looks like it's gonna go. Holy Toledo, you're kidding. Looks like I'll be able to get that on. Let's see if I'll ever get this. Gotta get a clamp back on that one. What do I have out front here? Somewhere. There's a bracket. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. There we go. Nice. I can get that one started. I'm gonna be real happy too. Yep, that one's going. All right, I'm gonna get back to the clamp on the back side of that intake for the PCV valve, and then I'll come back. Okay, I'm gonna snug these down. Then the torque, and there is actually a sequence for this, is 89 inch-pounds. So I'm gonna go 30, 30, 30. I'll bring it up to 90. I think we'll be okay. I think everybody can live with that. So first at 30, we're gonna snug them a little bit. In our pattern, we have a sequence for that. Intakes, intake manifolds, heads, have some sequences. We're gonna see if we can stick to it. We got one, so we snug them down a little, two. That's me coming out here. 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 should be this one. And I'm still not at the 30, my initial 30. We'll see if we can get going around again. We'll start at 1. And being a rubber gasket, it's got a lot to take up. Come up here to 2, see that? Just keep working this thing around so that we don't tighten any part more than the other. A little bit of a process here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Alright, we got our 30 there, and 7 should be here. Alright, we're going to start here, see if we get it. 1. 2. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just looking for a little bend in that. That's going to get us at our first 30. 7. I'm going to go up to 60. Start here at 1. Drop up here to 2. We're not clicking yet. 3. That one did. 4. 5. That one did. 6. 7. Drop around. See, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoops, that's not 7. This is 7. All right, up to 90. Snug that a little. We're going to try this, I guess, twice. Whew, 90's a lot. All right, we're going for the last one. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. There we go. Now that's on. I'll start plugging some more things in. I got to get my evap stuff plugged in. We got our throttle position sensor and motor. Actually our motor for our throttle body. Drive-by-wire. So we're going to plug a few more things in. We'll come back. Monster. Man, is that in the spot. Alright, now I'll start plugging some things in. Okay, we got this little shield on the back, whether it's for heat or whether it's for noise, I'm not really sure. It's an insulator of some sort. We've tucked that back in. We've plugged in our coolant line that goes down to the throttle body. Just slide that clamp back up. Maybe, there we go. Okay. The coolant line is back up there. We've got things clipped in place. Our purge solenoid is plugged back in. What else did I do here? So at this time, I did pick up an air filter, so we probably ought to give that a go. Being that we're at this point in the game. Nothing wrong with mass airflow. Don't want nobody messing up my mass airflow. Ooh, look at that. That is a nice looking filter. But what's not nice is what we see inside that box. Holy cow, do I got a friend living in here? I'm almost afraid to put my hand in there. Holy cow, man, really? You're gonna bite me? Well, now there you go. That would certainly slow your car down. And I'm going to pause this because I am going to go get a vacuum cleaner. All right, I'll put the new one in. We got it. Let's go with it. Nice Minecraft. Where did this guy go? You remember? No, must have been there. No. It'll last a little bit with a ratchet. That can get a little bit crazy. Okay, we should be fine there. All right, part of our PCV system here. Get that back up. in place nicely. We'll put a cover on. It's over there. That's nice. What's going on there? Oh, I didn't push those in. Okay. Alright, negative cable. Very committal. Just gotta do it. It's clear. I guess I can take a shot, right? See if this thing's gonna run. I'm not gonna put this bolt back in down here, only for the reason is that it is so rusty coming off. I am going to pick a new one of those up. See if it'll run. Well, if I had a set of keys. So, went to start the vehicle, had a terrible hissing sound. Kind of got a little concerned and then realized that I had a bad vacuum leak, and here it is. Forgot a line. Woohoo! Hopefully this will take care of it, right? Slide that on. Vacuum booster takes a lot of vacuum to operate. And we'll just slide that clamp back on. And go figure, the camera's in the way. Sorry about that. Well, you know how that goes on, so I'm going to pause you and get out of here. Okay, we're going to start it and see if it runs smooth this time. Yeah, it's definitely a better sound. Very smooth. Got a helicopter in the background. Yeah, definitely running good. Spark plugs. 2011 Ford Edge 3.5. Woo, a little bit of a job. Not bad.